Hello, everybody. My name is Douglas Arnold Armstrong. I'm the head honcho of Happy Texas Reviews. Thank you very much. If you guys are watching during this live stream, or if you're just tuning in after the live stream ends, thank you also for watching. As you can tell, right now I'm a little bit wired. I think I've had a little too much caffeine, so I'm ready to go, and I'm ready to get out of Jumanji because this place is a freaking nightmare, and I do not want to be around it. So this review is about, you guessed it, Jumanji. I've been wanting to do this review for a very, 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 very long time. The problem is that I couldn't find my DVD copy. You might find that as a shocker, but because of some things with work and my personal life, and if you can't tell, I've had some reorganization going on in my house and my room. So it's been a little bit of a chaotic situation trying to find things again. So yeah, I found my Sathura disc, and I couldn't find my Jumanji disc, but so I decided to do Sathura. And since I decided, I'm going to do Jumanji, I'm going to start you off with the bad version of how to do a board game movie. And then I'm going to tell you guys what a amazing board game movie is. So, if you guys don't know, we're doing the 1995 original Jumanji film starring Robin Williams. May rest in peace. We are not, by the way, this is not Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle with Dwayne Johnson, a.k.a. The Rock. That movie was just, oh God, that movie made my head hurt. There was supposed to be a reboot, a sequel. I don't know what that was, but, Jumanji worked fine. Zathura was decent, and now they got to keep trying to reboot and sequel everything, and it's just like, if something works well, and it works amazingly well, and everyone likes it, you do not need to create a reboot. Maybe a sequel, but let's be honest, Jumanji doesn't need a sequel. We get the point that the board game will never die. If you've ever seen this film, you realize that this board game will never be gone forever. To me, all they need to do is just burn it into a gigantic ashtray. So we're going to get into some things that I didn't like, which is very minor things, and then we're going to get into the positives. So, starting off with the negative things about Jumanji. I really wanted it longer. This movie is only an hour and 44 minutes long. I kind of wanted it longer. I mean, don't get me wrong, an hour and 44 minutes for a movie about a magical board game that, when you play, unleashes things out of the board game universe into our universe and scares the crap out of you, like spiders, wasps, hunters, stampedes, killer insects, killer plants, crocodiles, tsunamis. I'm just like, give me more! I want more! So that's just a personal pet peeve of mine that I kind of wanted it longer. Another thing I really didn't like was the board game's drum sound, the noise that it makes until the board game is actually open, drawing you in, being so mysterious. I'm like, this drum sound, it gets annoying after a while. I'm like, we get it. You want to be played with. You want someone to move your pieces around. You want to destroy our universe. But can you please, for the love of God, tone down the drum sound? That would be nice. Next, this movie does not explain how monkeys can drive cop cars, just normal human, everyday people's cars, motorcycles, and how electronic gizmos work. They never explain that. They're just, I guess these monkeys are super intelligent. They're more intelligent than apes from Planet of the Apes movies and stuff like that. I'm just like, oh, and they know how to, hold a gun and shoot a gun. I'm just like, wow, did we just throw a little bit of evolution into a Jumanji film? Because that's the only explanation I can think of, but they don't even talk about it much. Next, there is a scene in this film that at the time of this movie being made, I don't think was a big issue. But at the time of me doing this review, it's 2018, and there's definitely a big debate in our country as to what should be done with guns and gun laws and gun safety and things like that. So the scene I'm just going to talk about, to me personally, I think it's kind of funny, and at the same time, I can see also a little bit that it can be a problem just because of how it's handled. So basically, this hunter, he's shooting at the Robin Williams character, and the hunter runs out of ammo eventually for his rifle, and because of the age of the rifle and whatnot, they don't make the bullets for that rifle anymore. So the dude's either got to get a whole new rifle or he doesn't have a weapon. And for the sake of the movie, he needs a weapon. So the hunter is like, okay. So he gets an upgraded gun, one that is very similar to his, but it's got like a extended magazine and a silencer almost, faster fire rate, longer range, and I'm just like, okay, we get it. This is supposed to be funny because he's got to get a brand new gun from this century. Then they play it off where, the gun owner's like, you need to fill out all this paperwork, and there's a waiting period, and then the hunter's just like, here's a amount of gold. I'm not filling out this paperwork. I'm not waiting. Give me my gun. I'm walking out of the store now. Problem. Bribery, not filling out the necessary paperwork, and just walking out of the gun without a waiting period. You don't even get a background check done, dude. So, I mean, at the time of 1995, this wasn't such a big issue. But depending on when you watch this movie, like now, it can be a little bit on the social, problem of how you feel about guns. I mean, to me, it's kind of funny because of the jokes that they kind of make during the scene. I mean, it's a very short scene. It's like less than 2 minutes, if that. But I'm just like, that definitely can be a problem for some people. But to me, I thought it was kind of funny, but I can also understand people's viewpoint of, this is a problem. But be open-minded when you do see this movie in this type of time where guns are being a major social media, and just general topic in our society right now. But do realize that this movie was made in 1995, and those types of problems. I mean, the type of problems we have with guns right now were not problems that we had 13 years ago. So just be open-minded to the fact when you're watching this movie that was never the intention of it being such a problem. Next, also I think it can be kind of scary because of that problem with the mass shootings. That can also be an issue of people just walking out of a gun store with a gun without filling out paperwork, having a background check. I mean, of course, there's supposed to be certain procedures that you follow in order to get a firearm. And so, people can also see this movie and be like, this is just another prudent way of saying, hey, you can go into a gun shop, get a gun, and walk out, and that's it. And it's like, do realize that this movie never had that type of problem majorly at the time of this movie being made. Another thing is this movie has a lot of issues with just general like physics and gravity stuff. There's a scene where a person is inside of a car and an elephant is literally just pounding down the ceiling of the car from the outside, and you're like, the person's gonna die. And I'm just like, they don't die. After this elephant stampedes the crap out of this car, that person's still alive. And I'm like, no. In reality, that would kill you instantly. But for the sake of the movie, they're still alive because you need the plot to move forward. And another scene is that the hunter is trying to kill some of the major characters in this warehouse. Not this warehouse, this hardware store of sorts. And this car hits a bunch of racks, and it becomes like a domino effect. So all the shelvings just go boop, 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 boop. And I'm just like, and then you see this paint can, this tower of paint cans that the hunter's right next to, and you're like, okay, these paint cans are going to smash them. And because of the weight of all that paint and the metal and whatnot, he's going to die. No. This hunter apparently is impenetrable to bullets and heavy-weighting paint cans and metal and rockets coming at him. And I'm just like, clearly this guy doesn't know how to die. So those are my negatives that I have with the film. And we're going to get to the positive now. First off, I like the fact that reboots like Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle and spin-offs like Zathura, they continue to fail to capture the same magic of Jumanji. When you think of a magical board game unleashing horror into our universe, you automatically should think of the original Jumanji. Your mind should not automatically go to Zathura, Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle, Goosebumps maybe, but Jumanji is a masterpiece. It's a classic film. There's no denying that. Anytime you think of a magical board game, you should think Jumanji. And if you don't, just call me. I'll give you my number right now in the comment section, and we can discuss that. It's a great film. It's light, it's dark, it's full of great messages, and there's lessons in the entire film for everybody, for all ages, for all generations, and for all ethnicities. There's something for everybody to enjoy in this film. It's a must-watch. It's phenomenal. It's a classic. It's almost as good as a Disney movie. It's it can be a little violent because it is PG, but it's up there with Cinderella, The Lion King. It's just a movie that you have to watch. It's just something you sit down and you can enjoy. So the story is simple, but it's also complex enough that it's not boring. So what I mean by the fact that it's simple is that a lot of it's very predictable, but it's entertaining and complex in a way that although it's predictable, the action, the acting, especially by Robin Williams and whatnot, is just amazing, and it hooks you into this universe, and it makes you really do believe that, hey, maybe there is actually a board game called Jumanji out there that can do this stuff. And so it really grips you into that type of reality. Like I said, amazing acting, amazing action, and there's technology used, but there's not a lot of it. A lot of the set pieces, the animals, the like computer stuff and whatnot, it's very limited, if any. The whole house is actually a house. The rain is actually a rain. A lot of the animals, like especially the crocodile, that's not CGI. That's not green screen technology. That's an animatronic. So this is like one of the last films that was using like the animatronic technology and whatnot, like Jurassic Park used or Jaws. And this is like the year and whatnot where things started going away from using a lot of animatronics towards using CGI and green screen. So you can definitely tell that they were like, do we want to use a lot of this or a lot of that stuff? And they did a good job, in my opinion, making it mostly 90% animatronic. And you can tell that by just watching it. Great world building. You care about the characters, you can really relate to them, and you have a deep emotional impact of them being in danger. Will they die? Oh, am I going to cry if they do? But there's just an emotional weight to everything. There's a lot of time jumps. I believe there's 3 in this film. There's one at the very beginning, and then there's one, I think 10 to 20 minutes into the film also. So with the time jumps do make sense in the plot, and that's something that when you do a time jump, at times it can be confusing to the audience, and it can actually break the continuity of the movie or the series and whatnot. And so it cannot always work if you don't have good writing. But in this film, it does do an amazing job and does do so well. Worth seeing 100 times. Worth owning on Blu-ray. I can't stress this enough. You need to watch this. I think also a couple last things. The monkeys I thought were amazing throughout the entire film. There's monkeys in the kitchen. I was like, oh, this is cool. They kind of get stupid with the fact that they can drive cars and motorcycles and whatnot. But I thought in general the monkeys were all pretty cool. The boy he ends up trying to quote unquote cheat at the board game, and because so, he becomes a monkey/human hybrid for that cheating. And I thought that was more interesting than Sathura's like, "Oh no, you're gonna get sucked into outer space." I'm like, no, the Jumanji, you becoming a monkey hybrid, I thought was kind of funny. So yeah. Next, I think in general, everybody in this movie has brains. The cop has a brain of trying to figure things out, and he realizes, oh, I'm I can't remember his Robin Williams. He's like, I'm me, and I'm just older. And I thought that reaction was kind of cool. How the car just stops. I'm just like, oh, okay, this is gonna be an interesting conversation. But in general, the cop, the ant has a brain. The adults are smart about trying to figure out what the problem is and how to resolve it. Even the children are like, well, let's just play the board game and get it over with so we can move on with our lives. So in general, I thought that was pretty cool. And my grandma's reaction to this movie, especially to the spiders and the bats and the little stinging insects, was actually more enjoyable to watch her reaction to those things coming out of the board game and attacking the humans. It was more fun to watch her reaction to that than it was to watch the actual film. I don't know if you ever try to watch a spooky movie with an elderly person, but their eyes they explode and they're all like, oh no, oh no. I'm just like, this put my grandma into a little bit of a terror because she hates spiders. It runs in the family. We just hate spiders. We hate bats also. And if you know me personally and you know that you can see me a lot, do not play any pranks with me on spiders and bats. You know who I'm talking to. Grace, help me. Oh God. Yeah. Mm-mm. So I just thought that was kind of a neat thing that I could still scare my grandma a little bit with movies like this. So in general, I highly encourage you guys to check out Jumanji, the 1995 film. If you haven't, please be sure to check it out. So I'm going to give my score of Jumanji a 9.5 out of 10. So that's going to do it for this review video. If you haven't decided to like, subscribe, join up as a group member, I highly encourage you guys to do so. And also, please be sure to check out Upgraded. I started that site here on Facebook just a couple weeks ago. Most of you guys that are either here on this Facebook group site or on my Reckless Bible Study group have already joined up to join Upgraded. But if you haven't, please be sure to do so. It should be a public group as of right now. I do believe that there were some technical problems saying that it was private. If it's still showing up as private, all you have to do is send me a message, say that you want to join up as a group member, and I will just review to make sure I know who you are, and you'll get access to all of my 24 free books. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys hopefully next week in another video. Have a good one.